In March 14th of this year, in a post addressing streamed scrims, the LEC commissioner at Riot Games said that they had previously been restricted globally in order to prevent oversaturation in an already packed calendar and to keep key matchups feeling special. And while now they've relented and people can stream the scrims, the idea behind trying to make sure that matches feel special and that we're not seeing games after games after games after games makes a lot of sense, because you want these high moments and these big trophy lifting moments to feel incredibly unique and special when you see your favorite teams clash against each other. So then why the f is 3 days after the MSI finals happening, a Riot partner tournament is going down that will have all of the same teams competing internationally against each other? All right, sorry, I've calmed down. But we're going to talk about that in this video because I have a lot of strong opinions about it. And we're going to get into it right after this break. This video is brought to you by Magic Spoon, a delicious treat that is nutritious. Magic Spoon is childhood reinvented. It's the same delicious taste that you remember growing up, but with grown-up ingredients. Magic Spoon fits a variety of diets. It's high protein, no sugar, and great for carb-conscious lifestyles. Try out Magic Spoon treats, which have 11 to 12 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and 1 to 2 grams of net carbs, so you can always get the feel you need on the go. They also have Magic Spoon cereal, which is 13 to 14 grams of protein, 0 sugar, and 4 to 5 grams of net carbs in each serving, so you can always feel good about what you're eating. This one that I can't stop snacking on is the chocolate and peanut butter protein treat, even when I'm supposed to be doing this ad read. So use my code Travis Gafford or click the link in the description below to try Magic Spoon cereal or treats today and save $5 off your order. You can also find Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee online. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So click the link in the description or go to magicspoon.com/Travis Gafford or even use the QR code to save $5 off your order today. Getting back to this whole thing, I had known for a while that it's ridiculous as it is, MSI finishes on July 12th in Vancouver, and then EWC takes place on July 15th to the 19th. So just enough time for teams, maybe not even enough time for teams to travel across. Obviously, some of the teams will have maybe already gotten there. I don't know how they're going to manage the travel situation, but like, this thing is immediately after MSI, and I find it so goofy. But what I didn't realize was how this event actually has more teams at it than MSI does, including 2 NA teams, because we can't get a slot. Here's me literally figuring this out this week, which is what led to this video live on Hotline League. Is NA sending 2 teams to EWC?
Yeah.
Everything, yeah, the regions are sending 2.
Oh my god, that's nauseating.
I would say I probably will not be watching that event.
Okay, that's fine. I am somewhat genuinely, like, it was kind of a joke.
No, yeah.
And maybe you're saying, Travis, why did you not know this? You cover this stuff professionally. Isn't it your job to be aware of all these things? Again, I knew about the timing. I did not know about the teams that were going because I'm not the biggest fan of EWC. And we've talked about that before on this channel, and you can go watch that video here. I'm not going to get into it. But I don't cover EWC. I try not to talk about it. It is not something I'm a huge fan of. But for the purpose of this video, we're just going to pretend that that's not the case. Let's just pretend this is happening by any other tournament organizer that I don't have issues with. But before we do that, I do want to just point out that in researching this video, we were trying to figure out, some place that concretely explains what teams are going and how they qualify. And clearly it's just because they're teams that were like placing really well in their splits. But the quote on the EWC website says that teams will be, they will run it down mid and jungle their way to the EWC, which I'm just like, I don't think they know what run it down mid means. Maybe, I mean, honestly, as much as I don't want to watch this thing, if all the teams are running it down mid in order to qualify for the EWC, then like maybe I've missed some qualifiers. I don't know, but I just thought that I wanted to call that out in particular because it just adds to the ridiculousness of this whole situation. Anyway, we've now established that this event is happening 3 days after, that is going to have more teams than the event that is happening right before it, MSI, that there are 2 North American teams that are going, which is hilarious for so many reasons. We don't even really need to talk about it. But my whole thought is just that this is so freaking goofy. Like, it is so wild, and it makes both events end up looking worse for it. Because you have so many different things that could happen, right? What happens if the MSI winner who lifts the trophy, and it's the second most prestigious moment in international like events that happened this year. And then the very next couple of days, like within the week, they go and they lose really quickly to some random team because they have jet lag getting across from one place to another, or they're not able to take it seriously, or they get figured out or whatever. It just delegitimizes the MSI win in a lot of ways. You have situations where like maybe the second seed from North America gets to go to this event, or they are getting to go to this event, but maybe they perform way better than the first seed, or maybe they do something crazy. It calls into question why there were not more teams at MSI from North America. You have all these different situations where you construct a narrative from MSI that you want to have this thing that be sort of the leading point into like the next split. And when you have this other event that, first off, a lot of people don't know about, thankfully, and you have that be a thing that you have to either address or ignore whenever you're doing casts, whenever you're doing content for the kickoff the next split, then it ends up with this really confusing conversation for a lot of fans where it's like, oh, this team did bad at MSI, but then 3 days later they did get good at EWC, or vice versa. It really gets things looking confusing. And I think it's going to be hard for the casters and for the fans and for all the pundits to figure this out. And it's just so easily avoidable. One, they could just not do EWC or participate in this, which is obviously my preference. But they could have done a different event where you have much smaller amounts of teams. Like maybe you have 10 teams at MSI, but you only have 5 at this. You could invite teams that were not at MSI to go to this. You could do events there that are around rivalries. So invite the top 3 teams from rival regions to EWC to participate in this, and have them go head to head in some sort of Rift Rivals type thing. And I get that within the structure of EWC, which is supposed to be crowning like the ultimate esports team or whatever, maybe that is not necessarily what they want because they want all the big name teams. And to that, I say, I don't give a fuck. Like, the priority for the League of Legends ecosystem, in my opinion, should be the main events that occur within the ecosystem, the Riot events, the ones that are like upheld as the pinnacle of the sport and the things that define the path to lifting the World Championship trophy. And so when you have the side distraction thing, it's just so goofy, and it just kind of drives me crazy. I also, just the fact that there are more teams that are going to EWC than MSI makes the narrative around MSI as the second most important event of the year far less like credible, I guess, because yes, it like takes place over a longer period of time and there are no more matches, but there's less teams competing at it. So how are you running this other thing right afterwards with your partner? It perplexes my mind, because while the date stuff had me just like going a little crazy, the more team stuff has me just losing it. I'm like, how are we doing this? And the thing that really drives me crazy about this stuff is that it causes such a lack of credibility in my mind around Riot. And I think that the esports team in particular, especially on the top levels of esports, they have a pretty big like trust and credibility issue with the community and with the industry, where they come in and they make changes to the ecosystem and they say these are going to be great, then people don't like it. Or they take way too long to change a format to the thing that people want. Or they say things in interviews that they don't get to uphold like a year later in terms of how they're going to structure things. And so people don't really feel like they are folks that can be, I guess, trusted when they say things. And so when you have Riot saying like, all right, guys, we're going to bend this really strict rule around global scrims and being able to be streamed, but we really care about the sanctity of making these key matchups feel special and making international events feel cool, and we limit the amount of opportunities for like show matches to occur and all these things throughout the year because we really want this to feel great. And then you do basically the worst fucking thing you could do in order to like make MSI feel real, which is just run it all over again with more teams like 3 days later in another country without your thing. Like, I'm like, why? You know, I get it. I get it. There's all these people in the comments that are gonna be like, money, 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 money. That's why they're doing this. You know, the Saudi government is giving them a ton of money, and maybe that is the case. I understand that the sport needs money, and while I am not happy about how they're getting it, I understand. I'm not ignorant. I get that you guys are all going to be, I'm the smartest person in the world. I'm going to be commenting about how it's money. Haha. But I'm just like, the damage that this does, in my opinion, to the sport and the credibility of the way they approach the ecosystem is just so dramatic that I'm like, there's got to be another way. You know, like EWC really, really wants League of Legends to be there because it is the biggest esport in the world. You can tell these people, no, we're not going to let you just rerun MSI. Or you can try to figure out another way to do this. Or you can plan your calendar in a way where MSI doesn't happen like right before, you know? Obviously, this is the first time this is happening as soon as it is because this year MSI is taking place a lot later. And I guess I would just say that for me, I'm pretty disappointed that this is the way that they went about it. And I'm obviously biased against the partnership in general, but I think I would be making a similar video, even if it was a little less heated, if they were doing this with any other partner, because it doesn't make any sense and it just makes people think that you're here to take money from people and not really care about how much your sport it can be perceived as goofy or lacking, you know, respect from the people that are making the decisions. I just find myself getting so jaded with this stuff. And the last thing I want to address here is that I understand that people want more international competition, and there's going to be a lot of people who comment on this video on Reddit or on Twitter or wherever, and they don't watch the video, and they're just like, oh, Travis running his mouth off again about the EWC stuff, or who cares, it's another international event or whatever. But like, I think there's got to be a better way of doing this. Like, I would like more international competition. I think it's great whenever we're doing this stuff. I'm glad that they added in the little dinky event that happened at the beginning of the year. What, First Stand? First Strike? I always called it First Strike. It's First Stand. Even if it is like a little small, just because it is great to see these big moments where you see the different regions clash, but like, not like this, you know, not 3 days after with all the same teams, not within the same context of we're going to try to compete to see who's the best team out of all these different teams. Like, make it a rivalry match, make it some series of show matches, come up with some fun stuff, like throw Cadrill's team in there. I don't know. I'm just so tired of this stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching. Sorry if I got heated in this. I'm losing my mind.